Hey everyone. Today's tactics video is looking at an interesting scenario. Maybe an error in the rules, maybe not. But when you have a character in the fighting rank, so the rank that is in contact with the enemy, and that can be the front, it can be the sides, but it can be the rear. However, there is a fighting rank and there are not fighting ranks, and you can have characters in those fighting ranks, or they can be not in them. So if a combat begins and a character is not in the fighting rank, it can move from wherever else it is into the fighting rank. However, if the combat begins and it is in the fighting rank, as far as we understand it at the moment, and that's where the rule is up on the board from the Old World Rules Project Index, if that character is in the fighting rank, he can't shift left or right to say meet an enemy that has hit the front or the front rank or the fighting rank of the unit to then say maximize its attacks against that enemy. So if we look on the screen, you can see the various steps that you've got with characters in combat. And that first clause says they can move if it's not within the fighting rank when the combat is chosen. And then the second one says, well, then you make your attacks based on their attack characteristic and the proximity to the enemy. So which that means if you're not in base-to-base contact, you can only make one attack. The way this played out for me in a recent game was that I was able to, if you look at the board, it's a game that did not end well for me. Unfortunately, I probably didn't pay enough attention to some of the videos I made here, and my units were spaced a little bit too close together. But on the right here, my Razor Gore herd that is marched up is going to try to charge these Wolf Riders. What will happen is there is a Hobgoblin Khan in that unit. You can imagine, if you know much about Wolf Riders, whether through Orcs and Goblins or Chaos Dwarves, that the Wolf Rider characteristic is pretty weak in general, but the Hobgoblin's not bad on its own. And pretty much a Razor Gore herd is going to eat up Wolf Riders any day of the week, but probably not do so well against the Hobgoblin Khan. This unit was had a standard musician and a bunch of other trimmings just because of the way the tournament worked. You needed to have those things to be able to score for objectives. So it wasn't just a filler unit. It was there to score points. The Hobgoblin had Ruby Ring. It was probably worth a little bit. So I really wanted to attack it, and that's the purpose of these Razor Gore herds. However, if you can see, and you might need to zoom in, at this point that Hobgoblin is the one that sort of stands out with the axe, and it's just off to the side. So technically, although it's good Games Workshop rules writing, if you have a unit with a standard, the standard bearer has to be as close to the middle as possible. Then your command models, the champion and the musician, go either side to that. Then you can have your characters. Now, these rules are very hazy. It says as much as possible. So based on modeling, hobby issues, maybe you can't fit it in and it fits better on the side. Does that count? On top of that, there is a part of the rules that says you can, part of the fact, the first fact that says characters can join command groups. So if they join command groups, while the standard bearer might be in the center of the unit, does that mean they can take the place of the musician or champion? It's all a bit of a mess, but for the moment, the way that we're playing this is that Hobgoblin's there, and this Razor Gore, which has to charge nearest to maximize, can maximize against the other three models and not make base contact with the Hobgoblin Khan. So a better image you might see here, straightforward, is that my Razor Gore will get to charge this unit, and for reference, he was able to feign flight or flee, and the Razor Gore rolled so high, I think it was literally the max. I think I rolled, I know I rolled the 6 on the Swift Stride, but it was at least 5 or 6 on the charge roll, and got in directly ahead and made contact here where to maximize, I've got these two in direct base contact, and corner to corner, I'm hitting this model in the middle. The Hobgoblin Khan is off to the right and can't make contact. So this was really important because, as I explained earlier, you can chew through Wolf Riders. I got my impact hits. I might have even rolled Primal Fury, I'm not sure. But with Strength 5 against the relatively light armored Wolf Riders, I was not only able to do enough damage to cause that unit to flee, I think Jeff, thank you for reminding me that being levies, they didn't benefit from the leadership of their general nearby, but they definitely fled after I killed, I think, 2 or 3 of them with the Razor Gore herd, and I was able to win the roll off to actually pursue them and run them down. So my 52-point unit was able to, through careful positioning, attack a smaller unit, really minimize the ability of the character to strike back. I only had 1 attack, and then win the combat and gain a lot of points. So the key to all of this is the angle at which you position your model, which is something that at the end of your, I guess, when you are moving these somewhat chaff units forwards, really a lot of the videos we've made are about that positioning of the model to give threaten particular types of charges, but also if you're charged in return, angle your opponent away from where you want them to be. So that's it for today. Pretty much a very interesting situation where other people might be playing this differently in other jurisdictions that play Warhammer the Old World, but interested to hear your thoughts. Are you able to position attack units in this way? Because in this move, while I was smashed in this game, in the end, this was the highlight for me, and I scored a lot of points with a relatively weak unit. Once again, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.